It's another Friday of paying for internet that doesn't work as advertised. This is Anytime with Ken and Alden. I'm Ken. That's Alden.
I'm Alden, and my internet is also not great. I don't understand what the point of paying for any premium anything is anymore.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm on the top tier business. I complained about this on the Blathering yesterday. I noticed a lot of my streams go in and out, and I'm not alone in this. But this is America, Alden. We were promised good internet.
I was promised at least, look, I didn't go for fiber. But I was promised tier 2, and I feel very tier 0 right now. You know, I just think that overall, I mean, honestly, we could probably do a whole show on this. This is actually probably the beginning of the topic that we've been saying we would do, but breaking news keeps happening about how things are more expensive and there's different like we're kind of breaching that right now. But like, I'm sick of it, man. Like this whole like even independently of Disney's politics and everything, that price increase, completely separate from Kimmel, completely separate from everything, offended me so deeply because it's like, so adding the ads wasn't enough. Now you have to add the ads and tiers and price increases on the tiers. What are we doing? Can we just admit that it's failed? Can we admit it?
Yeah.
No more tiers.
No more tears. I'm out of tears. Yeah, the high cost of fun. That's going to be our Matt Damon, we have to push you running bit here of that episode we were going to do a couple weeks ago.
Don't worry, Lindsey Buckingham. We will talk to you next time on What Up With That.
Streaming has failed, said Devin Guy. I really don't disagree. I still enjoy it, right? I still enjoy it. But I just, you're not a sports fan, Alden, but me as a football fan or a baseball fan, it's the NFL season, second month. That's when things start picking up. It's Major League Baseball playoffs. I don't know where to even find it. Even on some of the services, I do have it. Like I know Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime. Okay, I got that. But it's like there's 19 different spots you have to search for this stuff and pay for each one of them. And the old days of just, I got my cable and I'm watching my baseball. Like what are we doing? What are we doing? We know it's to accrue more profits. And that's where we are. They're pricing out sports fans. They're pricing out all of us.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that wanted to enjoy the John Cena farewell tour. You now have to pay $30 extra for Saturday night's main event this December to see that final match. It's a racket. Everything's a racket. It's really bleak out there, y'all. Great start to the show as we remind you all of your financial woes. I'm sure there are people like watching and listening to this episode that are like, yeah, man, I had to pay my bills. I came to this show to be happy after I paid my bills. Sorry. But the government is shut down and we're still here for you, though. And that's the takeaway, is that nobody shuts us down, except sometimes us and our depression. But
yeah. A little bit of that for this. I am not in good sorts this week, and I'm okay with it. Like I'm not apologizing for it. I'm like, I'm a little grumpy, a little angry, a little aggressive. I'll cut you. And that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of where we're at, man. So including, the government shutdown, we'll dive into it. It's kind of our headlining thing. But I told you in a text, it's my one of my last arenas of cynicism where I just kind of go, the government here. All right, government shut. Every 2 months this happens or threatened. Wake me when it's done or wake me when it kills us all. And that's not the best spot to be in, but that's kind of where I am this week.
I thought you were going to throw out a "Wake Me Up When September Ends," and thankfully it has. We've moved into another month.
It has.
So you get to take your cynicism and pain into the month where that's probably the most appropriate. A spooky month, a spooky start to a spooky month. But that being said, I do think it's earned. Like. We have, just in my, adult remembrance, we've had a few of these. I think the last one was like 7 years ago. We've been on the verge many times. It's almost as if we need a system that can't be so easily shut down. But what do I know? I'm just a guy,
Just a guy.
I'm just a guy
in front of a podcast.
Standing in front of a Ken knapsack.
So where do we go? Where do we go? How do we do this? Take me into it.
I want to start by asking you about who I think is maybe your least liked person currently in these continental United States, Mike Johnson, who in a lot of ways, because as I said to you in text, these guys move in arcs, you know,
Yeah.
they kind of compete for who's going to be the least likable at any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
I put their leader on a shelf because he's a unique. I actually think I said this maybe to you or to our friend Nikki Kumar in text that there are like in the world of DC comics, by the way, not Capitol Hill. In the world of DC comics, Batman has villains that are criminally insane that go to Arkham Asylum when he catches them, because he usually doesn't kill people unless Zack Snyder has a say about it. And then he has villains that go to Blackgate Prison or Belle Reve Federal Penitentiary, whatever. I think that the leader of this whole shebang right now is definitely an Arkham Asylum type threat. Like he's in his own, like he cannot be reasoned with on any normal plane of reality. But then there are those fall guys that aren't insane, that I truly don't think are crazy, that are the generals and the lieutenants, not the generals that were assembled and told don't be fat. That's a different group of generals. I'm talking about the generals that are like, your Masameda, those like level guys. Littlefinger, I think I said to you in text, those types. Grimo Wormtongue. Really pick any stooge that you enjoy throughout.
Any dangerous stooge,
any dangerous stooge will do. And right now, as that wheel continuously turns and one of them ends up being the main character, Johnson really seems to be the main character. I know you have a particular dislike of.
Yeah. Sorry, you're cutting in and out. I got the last part. Yeah, man. He is. I agree with you. Number one, you use whatever system you want to put in place of the false prophet. The false prophet in office is almost Hall of Fame level. He's just. He is. The head of the snake, as we know, and that's a different conversation. But it's underneath it. I think Stephen Miller's the most dangerous. For many reasons, including repurposing speeches from 1932 German politics, and then Mike Johnson just brings this particular level of grifting to me that is dangerous because it's effective to the people that it needs to reach. And then you just look at his face and you look at his attitude, you look at his little comb over hair and his Sunday school teacher glasses, and you just like, he represents so many things in my life that make me angry and have made me angry over the last 30 years. And he just gets to sit there and get away with it. Just gets to sit there and take questions from Stephanopoulos and say, well, I don't, you're taking it out of context. No, I'm not taking it out of context. These are quotes. Answer the question about the quote I just read. And he just continues to kind of get away with it, I think. Maybe he won't. Maybe he isn't. I don't know. But right now he is. And yeah, he's number one on my depth chart.
It's a level of, like denial. Like there's that clip that really fascinated me where he gets directly confronted with, the reality that we all see, that Governor Pritzker finally brought really to the forefront of the conversation, which is this is beyond politic and like morality. Like this is just someone who's not well. Like if we can separate them, this is somebody who's just not well. And she's talking about 25th and everything. But when that was brought to Johnson, of like, you have a president who's not well. You have a president who's saying things that's making people, he just like almost sociopathic instinct kicks in to just deny, and just say, well, you have people like that on your side too. Well, I didn't see that. And it's like, we've talked about this a lot of like, how do you operate with people that aren't operating in good faith? But like, man, like it's like, again, talk about the two realities. Like, I think the estimate is that like 25,000 people in his district will lose their coverage. And like, that doesn't even come up in his thought process. It doesn't even come up in his conversations. And it's like, it's a scary individual who has a zealotry maybe that the other ones don't have.
Yeah. And all seems to be in on the grift for the gain and power, and playing not even a character, but playing just playing the game they feel they have to play to support their Christian nationalist kind of views. and knowing that has an audience that's going to hit, that an audience that doesn't question a lot of this because of what they were raised to think or believe or feel they have to believe, which is something I always go back to. And that's why I think permission structures are important. And Mike Johnson just kind of represents a leader in that regard, where they're all just so happy that a godly man is in power. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. Yeah. I can only deal with what's there. One of my favorite YouTubers I listen to a lot, Pat Conkey over at Culture, Faith, and Politics, talks about like, hey, I only God can judge their heart. I do not know what's in their heart. I can only judge their words and actions. And Mike Johnson's in that category for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
We
can roast this guy all day.
Wait, how delayed are we? Am I broadcasting from Baghdad? There's a 4-second delay.
I just heard that. I just heard you ask.
Yeah,
I just heard you asking my broadcast from Baghdad. I genuinely, I apologize to viewers and listeners. Absolutely nothing has changed on my end. We had some rain, but like, I took my phone off. I removed other devices from the Wi-Fi to see if that's an issue. Honestly, guys, I'm not trying to talk smack about StreamYard because they make it possible, but I am going to talk smack about them. They keep adding like features no one asked for, AI interface, like all this stuff, and yet the actual plans that we pay for seem to gain no bandwidth, gain no stability. Like none of the back end really seems to be strengthened. I tell you, I don't suddenly have YouTube videos freezing on me. I don't suddenly, lose my Zoom calls. It's just here, but we're stuck here. So, yeah. I know you guys have had a little bit of that on Force Center, where one of you is always digitized and
yeah, because we're uploading a video that we just recorded an hour earlier. It takes that long to upload, not even from our internet, just into their system. It's frustrating. All right, we'll power through. Not frustrating in terms of you and I. It's just like I feel like I'm. Yes, Ted, we're out of here in Baghdad, and the Scud missiles have launched. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. The news pause always made me laugh as a child because I didn't understand the way it worked. I just thought that was just a weird part of the way that they spoke. But yeah, so Johnson, I think ultimately a villain of the week, although of course there were many. We also wanted to note Hegseth in our lay of the land of this week. Now, I've never served in the military. As far as I know, unless you want to reveal a secret piece of your origin, like a comic book character that we reboot years later and add something like, as far as I know, you've never served in the military, unless you want to reveal that now.
No, that's correct. Both my uncles and
a dark past.
Yeah, no, both my uncles and my father did. I broke that chain. My grandfather, as I've mentioned, did, but for other countries and armies, he was forced into. Of a German variety. No, I have not.
All that to say, despite that, I really hot take. I don't think that's how it's supposed to go, y'all. I don't think we're supposed to assemble people from around the world to talk about warrior ethos and fat people and just like really just abject nonsense for the entire time, saying that like we went straight up into like Orwellian, like war is peace level. Like that's not even an exaggeration. Like that was said. It was like both the natural conclusion of choosing this man for this job, so not surprising, but also just kind of horrific to see realized. That was my feeling.
Yeah, man. I found it to be completely embarrassing and problematic on a lot of levels. Just the whole warrior culture thing is something that has undermined our culture for a long time, and why, even despite my background of some best friends and family member in law enforcement and the military, and I've always kind of poked at we don't need the beast on the wall to defend us. Maybe there's another way. So I found it all embarrassing, and I was against it with all moral fiber. I did have a conversation about it yesterday on Blathering with a longtime, decades military veteran. They saw it differently, to be blunt. They saw it differently.
Interesting.
not a matter of agreement, but a matter of, that's actually a lot of things that we believe in. And I even had a conversation more about it offline. I wouldn't, I said this on air and I'll say it now, I wouldn't presume to imagine every general in that room disagreed with it. And that a lot of people are seeing the stoic faces as they're in the resistance or they hate it too. I wouldn't automatically think that anymore. But I personally found it embarrassing.
I wouldn't assume agreement. Yeah, I wouldn't assume agreement either way. Like any group of people. There was already a gentleman who quit in a pretty prominent way. I forget his name, but
and they're going to be what
I assembly who did quit. So it's like,
well, this is crazy. Did you move? Did I move to Switzerland? We 19
literally,
times.
And what's funny is that
StreamYard,
when we were talking off air, there was nothing like this.
Yeah, no, I know. This is part of the problem. It's part of the problem with StreamYard. It's part of the problem with StreamYard. The moment you press record, it fucks things up. And this happens a lot on Force Center where you see some of the errors happen. It wasn't like that before we went live. You stay here because we both have admin power. I'm gonna back out for a second and I'm gonna come back in. Let's see what happens with that. Cool. Vamp, do some improv. Yes, and buddy.
All right, so y'all, some of you might know that I sent a really risky text message yesterday. This is real. This is behind the curtain shit. I'm telling you the truth. And I just want you all to know right now, here before God and my Ahsoka hot toy that's sitting right there, that it worked out. So really, that's the real winner of the day is me in that context. Michael McCarcel, no, I did not drunk text my ex. I sober texted someone way more complicated than that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your support. Thank you for all the yes votes that said that I should text her. Thank you, Chuck. So we're back.
I think we're back.
I did.
I don't know.
I did. I shot my shot. I just told everybody in the chat that I sent a risky text yesterday that paid off. So send that text. Send it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Brian,
did I text my dad? Fuck no. No. Absolutely not.
No.
No. I did not text Fernando. That is
Fernando. All right. Sorry, I completely waylaid us. I know we were talking about Hegseth. Yeah. I think you hear what I'm saying. Like, let me just go here sometimes when talking about this. Like, I want to really, I found it to be embarrassing for our country, and including the false prophet in chief and the stuff he was saying. But we're so used to that. And we're used to the Hegseth. I cannot say his name because of the Major League Baseball player that used to have a similar name, but with a K. I don't apologize to him, but I apologize to our audience. Anyways, so I understand some of the perspective. No, he mostly was an expo. I think also Joe Hegseth. Anyways, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I didn't like it. I didn't approve. And I want to hear more veterans, a wider swath of what they actually thought and what they actually think was going through the minds. Because you're right. One did already like, you know what? I'm going to retire now. You all have fun with this mess you created. There's that. I do not think he has the respect of folks, but I think the core of what he was saying might have hit more than people want to admit.
Yeah. I am going to do what you just did, just as you finished that thought.
Yep.
Now, you vamp, and I will be back in a second.
All right. Welcome to Anytime with No Internet, or Anytime with Bad Internet. If you have a live question that we'll answer in 15 seconds, just post it now. Maybe give us a super chat to help us continue to pay for this horrible service that doesn't always work. Anyways, I also got a live Force Center later today, solo by myself. And so that'll be good because it's just been a wonderful week broadcasting. So there we go. Welcome to Anytime. I feel like I'm Ron Burgundy without a teleprompter, though I don't really need one anyways. But maybe I do. I'm stumbling while I say it. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Charlie Ashby says, forget the Department of War. You're going to be the Department of Sore after the fun you're going to get. Oh, that's talking about Alden in his text. Oh, okay, I got it. Let's just turn this into, did we send questionable texts to people in our life? Yeah. There you go. JMB says, I think the point that was being made was by the caller was that the restraint and calm was an indicator of their professionalism, not a commentary on Hegseth. Because the alternative in that case. Yeah, no, I think you're right, JMB. There was a little bit of that. There is an adherence to being apolitical because that's the training, that's the purpose, that's the job. I bet they don't like him just in terms of a boss, just like a lot of us don't like our boss, and he's an embarrassment there. But it doesn't mean that some of the stuff, I think you understand what I mean, JMB. I think it doesn't mean some of the stuff wasn't hitting. And I have... I've had this thing too, coming from my background in a public safety arena. I sometimes hear folks rightfully criticizing law enforcement, but without the actual knowledge of how to enforce. Where I do have some, and sometimes I want to pull them aside and be like, "You're saying wrong things. Maybe learn a little bit more before you criticize it." Because it does need to be criticized, and you might not be as effective if you don't understand it. And that's kind of how I felt on some of the military stuff, even though, again, found it to be completely embarrassing. Alden's back. How many texts did you send while you were gone?
Nope. To be honest, 2. Genuinely, I said 2. And that...
that was literally 5 Mississippis.
I work quick, man.
Yeah. That was 5 Mississippis, Alden. I could have told 2 jokes in that time on stage.
Fast. No, man, I text. You know, Ken will be like, hey, buddy. And I'll be like, here's a novel. And Ken will be like, yeah, man. Well, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
See, now, but that's also generational, which I acknowledge. Like, there are some, look, I got to be honest about something. This is actually good to say. Yeah. I do not hold other texters to my same standard if they're not in my same, especially age bracket. Anyone over the age of like 38 is allowed to be a worse texter than I am. But if you came up like me in the chats, in the forums, making a MySpace that you weren't supposed to have, everything like that, I expect you to have built up some typing skill by this point. When there's someone my age that's a really bad texter, I'm like, what is happening? What are you doing? This is not Westeros. Like, you should be better than this at this point. Like, it's really, really frustrating to me. Like, I know you were on Millsbury and IMVU, and like I was in the pro wrestling forums arguing, why the STF is not a good finish for John Cena. Like, I was typing away, honing my craft, and now I deliver hard. I deliver perfect grammar, long paragraphs. And then some people text you back 2 days later that are also in their 20s, and they're like, yeah, totally. It's like, what is happening? But they also don't want you to call them.
Yeah.
There's no winning.
Yeah.
But if I don't hear from you for like a day, I'm just like, well, Ken is a real adult and he's busy. I hold you at a completely different
Yeah. No, absolutely. Laserball says, yeah, but I have great telegraph skills. That's right. I can write a letter like a champion. Like, I can write a letter like John Adams writing Abigail Adams. I also am good at the old, what is it, the old T9. I used to, send flirty texts to this one girl by yeah, I got pretty good. It's all about the motor skills.
Really? That's incredible. Would you say that you have good penmanship?
No, when I think about it and I take my time, I have solid penmanship. But other than that, I look like, quite frankly, a serial killer. It's messy. It's messy. Like that's not good. Nothing's good there.
But that's legible. That's not like doctor bad. That was at least still doable,
Maybe.
Yeah. By the way, we're still experiencing a heavy delay. So we're gonna thug it out, and we're gonna get to a reasonable show length, and then we're probably just gonna have to call this a mini episode.
This is. I'm so angry at this all the. I'm so angry when tech doesn't work. Like, we're like, you figure your shit out, tech. Just all of it with a big capital T. Like, come on. I know this is a miracle.
What's great is that it's like when I want to do this show. Yeah. Go on. You go.
There's times when I'm playing Fortnite. And I'm playing Fortnite with a friend in North Carolina, a friend in Michigan, and a friend in another part of Southern California, and we all are on the same map, and everything's happening pretty simultaneously. It's a miracle. And then when something goes wrong, we get all mad, and we all kind of laugh, like, "Oh my gosh, 15 years ago this was impossible. 30 years ago, 40 years of growing up as a kid, dreaming of this. This is George Jetson shit." But my point is, but we've reached this level, so it should all work a little better, like this today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's frustrating because it's, again, like, you see what's possible. Like, when the people that I live with want to stream fucking Sade and Fuji's for 3 fucking hours on full blast off of YouTube on the smart TV, that comes in crystal clear. 0 delay, no problem. But when I want to talk to Ken Knapsack, is this government censorship? Is that what's happening? Are we being throttled? Are we being throttled by the man?
Yeah.
Are we too spicy?
First of all, the Sade stuff, that's very specific.
Oh yeah, no. I live with someone who loves Sade.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So now I'm just thinking of like a condensed version of the things that we had said we were going to talk about. We had that. We had Hegseth. We had Johnson. We have the shutdown, which is still TBD. They're openly lying about why it exists. They're saying, it's because of illegal aliens on healthcare benefits that we all know they can't actually get. We're just playing the same game. What else do we have this week? Linda McMahon being crazy. We had the continued and growing in volume fallout of the Riyadh, Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. I had planned on touching on this. StreamYard delay is not going to lend itself well to a quippy conversation about comedians, unfortunately. But it has been an interesting time for many publicists, I will say. It has, and for people with no publicists, like David Cross, who published that open letter saying, "You guys are whores." It immediately exploded into probably the biggest. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the biggest open dispute between big names in a long time, of all angles.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how far it's going to go on, how far people will remember it. I still stand by both. Oddly enough, Mark Maron and Shane Gillis on the same side here. Maron's bit of that went around. I wasn't asked, so I guess it's easier to take the moral high ground when you're not asked to sell out. I wasn't asked and never would be asked. I am not at that level, clearly, as a comic. The bigger question for me, Alden, and I'll take my call off air so you can answer, is this is also kind of one of those situations that I think a lot of people don't understand why they should care. I ran to a lot of people this week at comedy clubs who were like, "I'd take the money, shit." And that was Pete Davidson's answer. Then you had Bill Burr's old school, "Hey, they're just like us." And I actually really understand where he was coming from. But this isn't 20 years ago, as my friend Ken Plume said, this isn't Billy Joel playing Russia. This is a different time. But I just don't think they care. And it's the age-old thing of how do you get people to understand, including WWE fans, including I'm an EA Sports fan, and EA Sports just got bought in part by Saudis and Jared Kushner. Like, it's just complicated.
I mean, that's going to be a very real. It's going to be a real reality coming up for a lot of fans of a lot of things. I mean, I would say maybe one of the biggest fan favorite game developers ever, BioWare, Knights of the Old Republic fame, Mass Effect fame. They are also going to be, involved in this buyout. Hopefully, they get sold off with someone else. That'd be great. But it's like, are you going to be able to have the romance options that you used to have in those games? Are you going to be able to have the party members that you used to have in those games? There's going to be a lot of different things that trickle down across the board, and a lot of it has to do with money, blood money, and like you said, ultimately just who cares and who doesn't care. And you can't compel people to care, and you also can't. It's really hard to shake a perspective. Like if you look at like Burrs, because that made the most waves, I think, because of his arc. And how it seems like he'd been on this arc, and then all of a sudden, like hard turn. Oh my God, the arc is disrupted. And his perspective is like, well, they're just like us. It's like you can't teach someone to take a larger view. It's because it's like, is he on a human level wrong? They're just like us in the sense that like these are mothers, fathers, kids, people that love to laugh. Probably not. But does he understand that they paid for that sentence? Evidently not. So it's like that's something that nobody can put in that work for grown adults at this point in the game, especially not their peers in a competitive business. And I hate that, but it also is reality. Like even if Marin drummed up every other comic into like an alliance of like, we'll never book any of you. We're all the club owners will never book you. It's like, okay, we'll go over here. Like there's no way forward,
I agree with you. I think you're right there. I have not had too hot of takes on it. It's just something that you go, yeah, doesn't sit well with me. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop watching some of those folks. I already wasn't watching a lot of them. Just not the way I function. And I wonder how long this will be remembered. It might not be remembered at all. To me, when I was waiting on Pete Davidson, who, for those who don't know, his father was a firefighter who died in 9/11, and he goes over there, and his comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, after the time delay, Alden, his comment was, yeah, they paid me enough money to forget. After that, I'm like, I got nothing. I got nothing. I can't change that. I'm not saying that good or bad. I'm just like, this just is going to play out how it plays out.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, they have the routing. I see the number, and I go, and it's like, yeah, I understand that you want to have a mercenary attitude about things, and that I think that was David Cross's point too, is that like it's not like these are poor upstart comics that saw an opportunity that could change their lives, that like would get them out of a situation, that would put them up in lifestyle, take care of their families. These are like almost all of what you would consider to be the elite of the field. Like it's like legends, and if not legends, massive names. And it's like, and for Pete, it's like even independently of his tragic backstory, which is horrible, obviously. But like he achieved what many consider to be the zenith of the business, being a cast member on SNL. So it's like he doesn't need it. Chappelle doesn't need it. Gabriel Iglesias doesn't need it. Burr doesn't need it. Like there was not a single name on that list where I was like, I could see how you could be swayed. I could see how you could be, because that wasn't the point. The point was celebrity. The point was PR. So it feels very odd. It's not like they bought up clubs here and started putting people up. It's not like that, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
man.
I think
it's scary. It's scary how real that could be.
I think they'll own TKO or a part of it. I think that's coming, and the EA thing, private equity. I know, but like, and the Live Golf. I know you're not much of a sports guy. I get it, but like the Live Golf parodied so wonderfully in Happy Gilmore too. Great satire on it, but it was the first kind of canary in the coal mine of what's of this, dare I say, complicated ground we're all stepping on with them really making this large push into Western culture. And that's a weird maybe phrase, but like in terms of entertainment and pop culture and just being like, no, come here. You still have to follow our rules. Your female wrestlers must cover themselves neck to toe, but come on over. Like it started with the golf.
Yeah, and I don't know enough to comment on it, but I have heard from Nikki, Charlie, other friends of the show, and just friends in our lives, that there's money in several different football clubs, that they've slowly started to get a larger influence in that industry, and it's just Yeah. And again, it's like, it's not to, I'm not giving grace or weight to what Burr was saying, but it's like, on the whole, on a human level, yeah, sure, there's good people everywhere. There's good people in literally every single. If any of you clowns out there paid attention when Fern was talking to her mother Farrah in the finale of Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus, you would know that even in the worst places in the galaxy, there were good people too. So, with all that being said, however, sometimes even those good people have an economy built on some not good things. So it's just like, I just, I don't know, man. It's really hard to maintain any type of optimism right now. And I just need to, I probably need to watch Superman again. I just need to keep microdosing Superman like it's an antidepressant just to re-up and push me through. Yeah, we have some great comments here. I apologize for obviously not paying as much attention to the comments because we're like, Ken and I right now are like a couple like learning their wedding dance for the first time. We're like doing the steps. We're just like letting the we're trying to find a rhythm that we don't end up like what.
Guilty, we got no rhythm. Yeah, I'm also trying to, as some of you know, I do have a temper, and tech airs bring out the temper real fast. And I want to throw my computer into a sink and then bash it with a hammer because this is driving me crazy. I got work to do. This is how we make our money. This is how I make my living, and it's not much of a living. And I wanted to have a good conversation today, and it's impossible.
No, I know. And what's sad is that the second that we stop recording, we could have an incredible conversation with zero problems or anything. This is what it's like, y'all. This is what it's like. This wouldn't be a problem if they had not killed terrestrial radio. If Ken and I were just allowed to sit with a funky, dusty old board on transistors, with smelling like coffee and cigarettes, the way God intended, the way we were trained, then this would not be a problem. That's my takeaway. Now, whenever I see anything that has old broadcasting in it, whether that's like Stranger Things or like I watched The Boat That Rocked recently, which is a great film. Good Night and Good Luck. Obviously, I am now frustrated by being reminded of what I've been robbed of. The whole time I listened to the SNL behind the scenes history, I was angry the entire time because I wanted to be there. I didn't want to be here, because now they would be like, how many followers do they have before we, which honestly, which maybe they might do that now. But
absolutely.
Absolutely. Very frustrating.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and part of this
part is waiting for you to rage out.
I can't. I'm gonna maintain. It's nothing you and I can change. It's nothing you and I can change right now. It's just with everything going on in my life and all of our lives. And this week, I mean, let's not forget we had a what is being, I think, correctly branded as a terror attack in UK and another mass shooting tragedy this week that's almost getting no coverage because there's 59 other things happening every second, including another boat blown up today by us, and Venezuela saying there's some warplanes in our air. What are we doing here? And it's just like, we always talk about how overwhelming it is, Alden, but that's part of what my ADD, ADHD news headline thing is right now. There's too many things to focus on.
No, it's also like we get it, and we've talked about this before. It's not an original thought, but in that, I know we'll have those moments where it's like, I'm overwhelmed. Let me decompress. Let me consume whatever it is. In my case, it might be my Dua Lipa playlist. In Ken's case, it might be like a 26-part Netflix documentary about the Berlin Wall or something.
Absolutely.
I'm just making shit up, but like I just know the exact flavor of things that Ken will click on. That it's like it could be literally if not that, maybe it's like a 3-part miniseries about like crimes at Guantanamo. Ken is in there. He's watching. He's watching it immediately. He will decompress with the most depressing, depraved shit for hours.
This is true.
But I should give you some credit though, because you also watched like the Lilith Fair doc, right? That was probably
which was great.
relaxing, probably a lot more spiritual than some of the other ones.
It would. I highly recommend. Yeah, highly recommend the Lilith Fair doc. It is on Hulu, so you might not be able to afford it or morally be okay with watching it there. I understand both. But the Lilith Fair doc is great. I'm a big Sarah McLachlan fan, especially back in the day. And they get into a lot of things about the music industry then, but also definitely still touches now. And stuff I've said before. Where you were not allowed to play two women in a row on a radio station. That's a very real thing. One time there was an up and coming artist named Patty Rothberg out of New York, and I really loved her first album, Between the One and the Nine. I was talking to my bosses, like, can we get this on our radio station? I think we really should add this single. And I was told, nah, we're already playing one chick on a stool, kind of meaning Sheryl Crow. Like, we're not doing two chicks on stools here at the radio station. And so Lilith Fair was born out of that environment. And I think it's both inspiring and powerful and telling. So I highly recommend it there. There you go. Ken's middle-aged doc recommendation of the week.
That's a good bit. That's a good segment. We should have that. And what's funny is that I wasn't even going down that road, but then I realized that it was out, and I did genuinely want to hear your opinion on it because I knew you were going to watch it. But all that to say, when you are watching the Lilith Fair doc, what did I just watch? I rewatched Boogie Nights because we're celebrating PTA right now. And Boogie Nights has, for my money, outside of 1977's Star Wars, as it's called by the Orthodox fans, that opening shot in Boogie Nights, set to be real, going into the club, is the greatest opening shot of all time. It is just unbelievable. So I was like, let me just put on the shot, just to feel something, so I'm not depressed anymore. And then I ended up watching the whole movie. But the point that I was making is that in those moments, you're immediately, if you're me, overtaken by the guilt of not paying attention. And that's the struggle too. Like,
it's very real. It's once you open your eyes, and you could take that as being woke, being awake, whatever. Once there is a crack in the dam, you forever see the stuff. And that's where I have been in my life for the last 5 to 10 years, even probably more. But I just didn't know how to process it. And truly, the change journey was long for me. And I wish it was quicker for me and others. But I think you're speaking of a truth there that most people, I think, in our audience would agree. We do need to take our time. We do need to, take an hour and go for a walk or touch grass and all that bullshit. But it's real for our sanity. But once you're plugged in, you can't unplug, and you shouldn't.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. It's that moderation that none of us will ever capture. Like, we would like to capture it, but it's just probably not feasible. Because we are going to have to collectively, I don't know if evolve is the right term, but adapt. Like, we weren't meant to do this. We weren't meant to consume information in the way that we do. We weren't meant to whiplash emotions the way that we do. We also weren't meant to shit and sleep the way that we do, but those are different problems. But I just figured I would list them in there. And maybe if Dr. Addy is in the comments, maybe Dr. Addy can clarify this. But like, I've been told that we should be pooping like 8 times a day if we were like a peak prime animal, like that just like lived the way that we were supposed to live, like truly in the kingdom Animalia. But because of human habits, we've become what we are. Hard to say if that's true or not. But that is what I've heard.
What about the sleeping thing? What about the sleeping thing? We don't sleep right?
I think we're supposed to sleep in bursts. And I think that's why everybody advocates for these micro naps. They say it's great. They say like that's like the best thing for you. Now, I hate micro naps personally. If I sleep and people are like, oh yeah, I just, I'm on my lunch break, I take a 20-minute nap. If I take 20 minutes, first of all, it takes me like 20 minutes to even start to nod. So that's already a problem. But then if I do, when I wake up from that, I feel cheated out of a longer nap. I feel robbed. I feel hoodwinked, even bamboozled, I would say. Cannot endorse.
I do enjoy naps. I don't get to take them. I think they can be dangerous. I think you're right. You could really lock yourself into a bad day. But I wish I could try the microburst form of sleep, and I think it would work for me. I do think I get it. I just don't have that kind of Pablo Picasso life, I guess. Have a big dinner at midnight and go to sleep for a couple hours after work. But maybe I'm willing to try. My dog seems to. She wakes me up about every 2 hours. She's microbursting. Right, Franny?
Francis.
Yeah.
Franny's back. Franny, who deserves an EP credit, really, on everything on this channel, and your personal channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm a long naps person. I want to nap and wake up like Robin Williams and Jumanji, asking what year is it. That's my ideal nap. When I start a nap with the sun up and end a nap with the sun down, that is when I am my most powerful. I feel so complete. I feel like the universe is mine to bend to my will. Like I transcended time. And then I take like 2 steps and my back hurts. I'm quickly reminded that I am just a man. But
just normal men.
It'd be like that.
All right.
What innocent men. So we've been going for 45 minutes, 46 out of our usual hour 15, hour 20. We're probably going to wrap soon, guys. I really do apologize. Not in the sense that I feel personally responsible, because I don't. You know, I'm not gonna like put Ken and I up on the cross. You guys will be fine. You can hit us up online if you really want to talk to us. But I don't feel like I'm depriving like the Anytime with Ken and Alden audience is not like they're not want for talking, you know. They got Discord, they got each other, they got blathering tomorrow night. If I'm around tomorrow night, if you'll have me, I'll pop into blathering. We can do some riffing.
Please. It's I'm unveiling the launch of Silly Saturdays, which is just an hour of we will put big things on the shelf unless we need to discuss them because they're happening in front of us. But like it's you know, I've been watching some Rhett and Link videos from back in the day because I had applied for a job over there that I'm not going to get. But it was just like, all right, maybe there's some value of let's eat 19 hamburgers and try to figure out where they're coming from. Like, so let me just release the valve of pressure on my audience, and we're gonna have some fun. So pop by tomorrow night. Bring your favorite Halloween candy.
Sure. I'll bring my favorite Halloween candy. Some Silly Saturday is a good vibe. We can come up with some stuff for that. This is not something that I'm announcing because I haven't even discussed it with Ken, but it's just an idea I had when you said that, watching like the hamburger video. It would be really fun. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe down the road. It would be really fun for you and I to watch wrestling matches with a chat. I think that could be fun. Either if they're particularly good or particularly ridiculous, or just moments, entrances. I watched speaking of the Fugees, this will be my last thought. I watched there's home video footage of an ECW house show from 2000 where apparently ECW got Scott Hall to work like 3 or 4 dates in 2000 because he happened to be available. And because they didn't give a shit about licensing music correctly, they could just use whatever they wanted at that time because who cares? It's a house show. And it's Scott Hall peak, not peak popularity of the NWO, but coming off of the peak popularity of the NWO. The war is still going on between the companies. And he comes out in an ECW house show to Ready or Not by the Fugees. And the whole crowd is losing it. And he's doing all the Scott Hall shit. And he's still huge. He's still in great shape. And it might be the coolest thing that I've ever seen in my life. I genuinely don't think we've ever had a cooler human being than that man. R.I.P. to the Batman. That's my end thought.
It's a good thought. I enjoy watching WWE return compilations of wrestlers who've returned. And those are some of my favorite pops. They're always fun.
Love returns.
Or debuts, AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. Jericho, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's just that, the crowd does a giant rush of a pop. That's great. That's my final thought too. Wrestling.
Going back to certain finishes. Wrestling is life, as we've discussed many times. So again, everybody, we're sorry for the choppy show. We love you. And,
we do.
We're gonna catch you super soon. Next week.
See y'all. Absolutely. Bye.